All right, so today I'm going to be talking about why Port Clinton Middle School's science department deserves a grant to get a set of Oculus headsets for their classroom. So, when we started this mission, our goal is ultimately to further learning in the science classroom, obviously. One of the problems with science classrooms is that we have four walls, and the learning needs to go so far beyond those four walls. We believe, as a science department, that with a classroom set of about six headsets, we could change student learning for the better. Port Clinton Middle School does have a need for these headsets. Port Clinton Middle School is located in um, Port Clinton, Ohio, located up on the lake. We are a low income school district. About 44% of our students are socioeconomically disadvantaged and qualify for the free and reduced lunch program. So, not all of these students are leaving the school building and have the same opportunities at home. A lot of the learning stops when they leave school. Their life starts when they leave school. They have to work, they have to help with their siblings. Um, so they're not spending a lot of time doing learning outside of school. We want it to happen here and to make a difference here. Um, with that being said, being a low income school district, a lot of our resources, a lot of their funding is going towards helping those kids outside of the classroom. So on the weekends, our district sends home meals if it's going to be a long 3-day weekend or a holiday weekend. We have provided Wi Fi hotspots for all the households who do not have internet access in the event that we were ever to have a situation like COVID-19 where students are unable to come to this building every day. Um, so that's a big expense that they are funding on the regular. And we also do have one-to-one devices because outside of school, a lot of these students do not have technology in order to further their learning. So we provide that for them. And in the eighth grade, they are able to take these devices home. Another reason um, we really firmly believe in this is that many of the students that come through our schools, they'll never leave Port Clinton. Um, that's just what the stats say. They'll come to Port Clinton, they'll live here, they'll work here their entire life. So we are not only as a science department trying to further their science learning, but we're also trying to get them experiences that they may never have access to. So, what are some of the effects on learning that the Oculus headset can provide? First of all, like I've said, we can expand the learning outside of these four walls. We, as a science team, look at things like the cell cycle. We look at Newton's laws, potential, kinetic energy, um, inertia, acceleration. And we also look a lot at the layers of the earth and tectonic plate movement. One of the great parts about Oculus is that we're able to take virtual field trips. So students are no longer contained to this classroom and they're going on educational field trips. We only take one field trip in eighth grade, and it is not an educational trip by any means. So being able to provide more field trip experiences is one of the really great perks of having Oculus headsets. We can visit zoos, we can visit aquariums to look at different ecosystems. um, I believe this picture in your right hand corner is looking at the Galapagos Islands, for example. We're able to look at inside the cell instead of just looking at pictures of the cell, and we're also able to take a deeper dive into Earth's layers. So the field trip might not be an actual place, it could just be deeper into the layers of our Earth. Another great part about Oculus is that we're just able to, yes, I've said it many times, expand beyond the four walls, but there's only certain materials you can bring into a science lab. There's only so much time within a class period. So when it comes to looking at the cell cycle, for example, if I'm doing a typical unit on that, we're primarily looking at pictures. We might look under a microscope, which we have one. Um, but even looking under that microscope, you're only going to see a snapshot in time. With Oculus, you can see things happening in real time or as time goes on, but sped up. So within one class period, students could actually see the whole cell cycle take place. And that's a really cool thing and could help them to make things click. Um, Another great example would be the tectonic plate boundaries with earthquakes. So we talk a lot about tectonic plates and what happens when they come together and collide or they come apart. But these are slow processes. So once again, we're never going to visit a tectonic plate boundary. But what would it be like to feel like you were standing at a tectonic plate boundary and the plates started to move and you were experiencing an earthquake right where you are? Earthquakes don't happen in Ohio, so most of these students will never experience one. So this would be another experience that students could endure through the use of Oculus. And then again, Newton's laws, whether that be them sitting on a roller coaster and taking a roller coaster ride and seeing the kinetic energy to potential energy changes, or that be the law of inertia, staying in place, moving, whatever it is, and then being acted upon by a force, how great that impact has to be to make the forces become out of balance again. Um, these are just, there's so many things we can't do in the classroom, and Oculus can do that for them. So I am applying for a Digital Wish grant. With Digital Wish, it's pretty simple. It's a pretty straightforward process. I need to apply, which just consists of registering my classroom. And in order to register your classroom, you're going to have to get some information such as our tax exempt number and just general school district information. Then they actually grant you the money based off of what your lesson plan is. So I would take an example of a lesson plan that I have for the use of Oculus in my classroom, and they would be able to read from that lesson plan what technology I am in need of. They give out these grants after the 15th day of every month. So between the 15th and the end, you find out whether or not you have been granted your wish. If not, then you're able to reapply. So, Digital Wish is a nonprofit mission that is helping teachers with technology shortfalls in their classroom. While Port Clinton is super lucky to have something like Chromebooks, we provide Wi Fi hotspots. We are coming up short when it comes to state testing and growth measures. So we do need to change the way we're doing things in the classroom, and that requires more materials than we are able to provide to students. So a set of Oculus headsets that the science department could share is going to be super helpful with that. Digital's Wish's mission is just to empower teachers to find the funding that they need. You'll see some of the criteria listed for judging, and all of that judging is going to be based upon the lesson plan that I have created. In this lesson that I have shared, and if you click on the picture up here in the right hand corner of the lesson, it's hyperlinked to take you to that lesson for you to read more. But the students will come in, they'll do their everyday bell work, and we'll go over the learning objectives for the day. Then, with this being a new material, I would have some tutorials and it would take turns practicing with these headsets. And then we would split into two groups. One group would be with the headsets, one group would be doing a virtual lab on their Chromebooks, but the group on the Oculus headset would actually be partnered up. So, say there's 10 people in the group, I'd have 5 groups of 2. And with the partner, they would take turns using the headset and answering some questions as they go through the lab. And then we'd close out the day with some reflection and review of their homework. So, why choose Port Clinton's science department for this grant through Digital Wish? We deserve it. We don't have the funding to do it, but we do have students who love to learn. And it is my goal as a teacher to keep them enjoying learning so that they are able to one day be leaders in our country, in our world. So I want them to find learning fun. I want them to enjoy coming to science every day. And it's my job to make sure that happens. And I need some help. Thank you.